Okay, so today our extra ticket was to graph the inequality x minus 2y is less than or equal to 6, which we see right here. So the first thing we need to do is change this to slope-intercept form. And the way we do that is we solve for y. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract x from both sides. So I have negative 2y is less than or equal to negative x plus 6. Now I need to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide by negative 2 on both sides. So now I have y on this side. I have 1 over 2x on this side because negative divided by negative is a positive, and there's an invisible 1 in front of that x right there, so it's 1 over 2x. And then we have minus 3 because 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. Now the important thing here is that we just divided by a negative number. And with inequalities, when you divide by a negative number, you're going to flip your inequality sign. So we used to have less than or equal to, but since we divided by this negative number, we're actually going to have greater than or equal to. Okay? So our new equation, our new inequality is y is greater than or equal to 1 over 2x minus 3, where negative 3 is our y-intercept and 1 over 2 is our slope. Okay, so let's go and graph that. Alright, so we have y is greater than or equal to 1 over 2x minus 3. So our y-intercept again is negative 3, so I'm going to put my dot right there. My slope is 1 over 2, which means I'm going to go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and let me just extend that down here also. So we have a nice long line. My next step is to figure out whether I'm going to have a dashed line or a dotted line. And the way I figure that out is from, again, our inequality symbol. Our inequality is greater than or equal to. That part that says or equal to tells us that we're going to use a solid line. So I'm going to connect these dots with a solid line. Okay, so now we're almost done. The last thing we have to do is figure out where to shade. Again, we're going to look at our inequality for that answer. And our inequality tells us that we're going to shade above the line, for the same reason, because it's greater than. So since it's greater than, that means we're going to shade above the line. So let me shade right here, and I'm shading above the line. So I have a solid line because it's greater than or equal to, and I have shading above the line because it's greater than rather than less than. Okay? So here's a quick refresher on how to remember where to shade and what kind of line you use. Okay, so if you want to use a dashed line, you're going to be using your greater than and less than. The solid lines have greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. If you're shading above your graph, you're going to be using those greater than signs, so greater than or equal to. And if you're shading below your line, you're going to be using less than or less than or equal to. Okay, so these guys are what tell you what to do with that line. I know all of you know how to actually graph a line, but using an inequality is a little bit different. Alright, finally I'd like you to try out this problem right here. Try to graph that on your own. It's 4x minus 2y is greater than 10. So remember all those rules about flipping inequalities, remember all those rules about what kind of line you have to use, and where you shade. And if you get that correct, then you've mastered this objective.